I protect myself. I don't just sit in the house with the television on and making memories literally. You know, Steph and I were sitting out on the back porch the other day having breakfast. Your dream tournament is now a reality and you've experienced it a few days. What's it like? How has it been run? How do you think it's Oprah? Destroyed. Alex Eala's brutal 8-word reply has set the internet on fire, igniting a feud nobody saw coming. What started as a shocking headline quickly spiraled into a full-blown cultural clash that fractured social media, divided generations, and left both the sports and entertainment world stunned. On one side stands Oprah Winfrey, the undisputed queen of media and a billionaire mogul who has shaped global conversations for decades. On the other side is a rising Gen Z tennis powerhouse whose explosive baseline game is matched only by her massive viral influence. Instead of sharing a glamorous conversation about empowerment, the two found themselves locked in a public war of words that culminated in a legendary mic drop moment from Alex. A response so sharp it instantly forced the internet to pick sides. To understand how this drama escalated, you have to look at Alex's meteoric rise. A prodigy of the Rafa Nadal Academy with a junior Grand Slam pedigree and relentless work ethic. She has been dominating headlines. Music. But her influence now stretches far beyond the tennis court. She is evolving into a global brand, a fashion icon, and a powerful voice for her generation. Every time she steps onto the court, appears on a red carpet, or posts online, millions engage. Her matches have transformed into full-scale spectacles, not just because of her top-spin forehands, music, but because of the electric aura she brings into every arena. Stadiums that once struggled to fill seats now sell out within hours when her name appears on the draw sheet. Music. Sponsors are calling. Brands are lining up. Magazines are placing her on their covers. She is no longer just an athlete. She is a movement. Music. And with that level of spotlight, not everyone is applauding. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Oprah Winfrey took to social media and published what many described as a bombshell critique aimed directly at Alex Eala. The post read with sharp precision, questioning whether Alex's dominance in the headlines was truly the result of exceptional tennis or simply the product of image, virality, and spectacle. Oprah suggested that the buzz surrounding the young star stemmed more from personality and controversy than from genuine athletic skill, adding that being widely adored is not the same as creating meaningful lasting impact. Music. She implied that while she had spent decades fostering conversations meant to uplift and unite, Alex represented distraction rather than depth, arguing that history ultimately remembers substance, not noise. That it was far from a gentle critique. Music. To many, it felt like a sweeping dismissal of a 20-something athlete's dedication and sacrifice and accusation that her rise was fueled by hype instead of hard-earned performance. The implication that her success was built on emotional chaos rather than relentless hours on the practice court struck a nerve across the sports world. After all, Alex left her home in the Philippines as a teenager, moved across the globe to pursue her dream, and committed herself to the demanding, uncertain grind of professional tennis. Music. For critics and supporters alike, the weight of that journey made the remarks feel less like commentary and more like a direct challenge to the legitimacy of everything she has worked for. She enrolled at the prestigious Rafa Academy in Spain and threw herself into the brutal, lonely, and financially uncertain grind of professional tennis. There were losses, there were injuries, music. There were tears shed on distant courts thousands of miles from home. She battled her way through the ITF circuit, survived grueling qualifying rounds, and earned every ranking point through relentless effort and sacrifice. And to see that journey dismissed as noise stunned her supporters. Music. The internet erupted instantly. Fan bases clashed across platforms. Think pieces flooded timelines. Sports analysts and entertainment columnists rushed to weigh in. And even former athletes publicly chose sides. All eyes turned to see whether Alexa would release a cautious, carefully worded statement crafted to avoid escalating tensions with Oprah Winfrey. History has shown that many young stars, when confronted by powerful critics, retreat behind polished apologies drafted by lawyers and agents. Music. But anyone who has watched Alex fight through tense Grand Slam qualifying tie breaks and exhausting 3-set battles knows she doesn't back down from heavy hitters. Whether she's returning a blistering serve or facing sharp public criticism, her response is the same. She steadies herself, locks in, and responds directly. This time was no different. She didn't wait for management approval. She didn't soften her words through a public relations filter. Music, instead, she took to her own platforms immediately, delivering a poised yet powerful defense that demonstrated confidence, clarity, music, and an unwavering belief in her journey. She stood her ground with grace, intelligence, and striking emotional precision. Alex Eala's response was raw and heartfelt, cutting straight to the core of the criticism. Music. She made it clear that she has never chased fame, only the opportunity to tell her story honestly and uplift people who come from the same difficult beginnings she did. Music. Any attention surrounding her, she explained, was not born from chaos, but from years of sacrifice, discipline, community work, and real supporters who see themselves reflected in her journey. She emphasized that being visible is not a crime. It is what naturally happens when someone speaks from their scars and transforms pain into purpose. Her message resonated far beyond tennis because it exposed a deeper generational shift. Oprah Winfrey built her empire in an era when media was curated and controlled from the top down, when voices required invitations, publicists, music producers, and executive approval. Oprah became the gatekeeper who decided which stories reached the spotlight. But Alex represents a new wave of athletes who have completely democratized storytelling. Music. No studio, no permission, no middleman. She turns on her phone, speaks directly to millions, and the audience responds in real time. When Alex talks about lifting up the broken and saving dreams, it is not empty rhetoric. She carries the sporting hopes of a developing nation on her shoulders. She openly shares burnout, discusses her off-sea court passions, supports grassroots tennis initiatives in the Philippines, and advocates for underprivileged youth, all without apology. Music. For her, social media influence is not a distraction from tennis. It is an extension of her mission. The idea of turning pain into purpose struck such a powerful chord with her followers that it shifted the entire conversation, reframing the narrative on her terms and underscoring a cultural shift in who controls the spotlight and how stories are told. The response resonated so deeply with her millions of followers that the hashtag pain into purpose immediately began trending worldwide, completely hijacking the narrative Oprah had tried to start and reframing the story entirely on Alex's terms. But the absolute climax of this drama, the moment that sent shock waves across the globe and cemented this feud in pop culture history, came in the final line of Alex's response. After delivering a passionate, eloquent, and emotionally devastating defense of her journey, she left no room for debate, no question mark, no polite olive branch. Instead, she dropped an 8-word mic drop so precise, so savage in its simplicity that it instantly went viral, garnering millions of likes, retweets, music, and roaring support from fans and fellow athletes worldwide. The 8 words that broke the internet were, "My legacy is built on courts, not couches." The collective gasp of 7 continents could almost be heard in unison. In a single sentence, Alex Eala devastatingly highlighted the fundamental difference between their worlds. While Oprah has built immense wealth and influence, speaking about struggles from the comfort of a television studio, Alex is out there bleeding, sweating, crying, winning, music, and grinding on courts across the world, fighting for every point, every paycheck, and every ounce of respect she has earned at it was the ultimate perfectly measured clapback. Not profane, not a tantrum, not a defensive lashing out, but a cold, confident, and permanent assertion of identity as a warrior in the sporting arena. Music. 8 words turn the tables so completely that Oprah's critique now feels disconnected, out of touch, and tone-deaf. The fallout has been spectacular to witness in real time, with fellow tennis players and fans alike rallying behind Alex, celebrating the power and precision of her words. Fellow players have been conspicuously liking Alex Eala's post across social media. A quiet but powerful show of solidarity from the locker room. Former champions, many of whom spent years facing the same tired narrative that marketability somehow undermined athletic credibility, have spoken out in support. Music. The locker room buzz is palpable. Whispered conversations before practice. Players sharing phones with each other. Music. Laughing and nodding in recognition of a pressure every young female athlete has felt at some point. This isn't a new phenomenon. It's just finally being confronted head-on by someone with enough courage, platform, and rhetorical brilliance to make the confrontation impossible to ignore. This feud also brings to light a broader issue that has simmered quietly in tennis for the past decade. One the establishment has long hoped would stay under the surface. Historically, whenever a young, attractive, charismatic female tennis player gains attention beyond the court, a segment of the sporting establishment attempts to undermine her. The narrative is always the same, recycled with different names across decades. In the late 1990s, Anna Kournikova faced constant scrutiny. Her immense marketability was weaponized against her despite being a top 10 singles player and a dominant doubles champion with Grand Slam titles. Similarly, Maria Sharapova had to endlessly prove her grit, showing that magazine covers did not contradict the trophies on her shelf. More recently, Emma accomplished the nearly impossible feat of winning the US Open as a qualifier without dropping a set in 3 rounds of qualifying and 7 rounds in the main draw. One of the greatest achievements in W history. Yet, she too was relentlessly scrutinized the moment she signed luxury brand deals. As if stepping in front of a camera somehow negated her sporting excellence. The double standard is glaring. If a male tennis player wins a Grand Slam and immediately signs an endorsement deal, the headlines celebrate his business music acumen. If a young woman does the same, her commitment to the sport is suddenly questioned. This pervasive bias is exactly what Oprah Winfrey's critique of Alex Eala played into a tired, archaic trope, which is why Alex's response was not only powerful, but historically significant. She didn't just defend herself, she dismantled the stereotype entirely. Music. What Oprah failed to grasp is that the playbook has changed. Today's athletes, especially someone as grounded, intelligent, music, and strategically savvy as Alex, refuse to be confined by the old shut-up-and-play mentality. Music. They understand that building a massive platform outside of sport isn't a betrayal. It's leverage. It provides financial independence, allows decisions based on personal values and well-being, and reduces total dependence on prize, money, and rankings. For Alex, her popularity isn't a distraction. It's the foundation that allows her tennis career to thrive on her own terms while simultaneously uplifting her community. She made this abundantly clear in her response, a point that someone like Oprah should have immediately recognized and respected as the story continues to unfold. Tension simmers. Music. Oprah's camp has remained uncharacteristically silent since Alex's 8-word mic drop. Perhaps realizing they underestimated the loyalty, ferocity, music and scale of Alex's fanbase or consulting advisors on whether any response could avoid making things worse. Meanwhile, Alex has been spotted back on the practice courts, completely unbothered. Music. Sources from her training camp describe her as focused, sharp, and hitting forehands with an aggressive, explosive intent, channeling every ounce of this external fire into her game and demonstrating why she is not just a rising star, but a force of nature in the sport. All that noise is being channeled directly into Alex Eala's racket and her preparation. There is a long and honored tradition in sports of athletes who use controversy as fuel. And if her historical record of rising to moments of pressure is any indication, she is about to play some of the best tennis of her life. Music. Rumors have already spread through the tennis world that ticket sales for her upcoming tournaments have soared since the feud went fully viral. Promoters are scrambling to secure center court slots for her matches, fully aware that the global audience is watching to see how she performs under this intense scrutiny. Will the pressure crack her? Will being in the crosshairs of one of the most powerful media personalities in history cause her to tighten, falter, or miss shots she usually executes effortlessly? Or will she do what champions do? Convert every obstacle, every critique, and every moment of doubt into fuel for a fire that burns hotter and brighter than ever. If her pain into purpose mantra tells us anything, betting against Alex is unthinkable. Not for a single second, not for a single point. Beyond the drama, this saga offers a revealing lens into the current state of the WTA Tour and women's tennis as a whole. The sport is in the midst of a profound generational shift. Music. Legends like Serena Williams have retired, leaving behind legacies so singular that no one player can fill their void alone. The tour is instead looking for a constellation of new stars, each bringing unique skills and capable of captivating different segments of a global audience. Players like Jabber, Aina Sabalenka, and Coco Gauff are carrying the torch with excellence on the court. But the sport desperately needs the crossover pop culture magnetism that Alex Eala is generating organically in quantities no marketing team could manufacture. Music. The WTA needs athletes who can headline, sell out stadiums, attract non-tennis fans, and inspire a 16-year-old in Manila or a 13-year-old in Lagos to pick up a racket for the first time. By critiquing Alex's visibility, Oprah arguably attacked the very lifeblood that drives modern sports in the digital age. Music. Rising stars do not need to be quiet, humble, or invisible off the court. They need to be exactly what Alex is: compelling, authentic, vocal, music, and connected to communities that traditional sports media has historically overlooked. In an era dominated by TikTok, Instagram, music YouTube, and fast-paced digital content, a player's viral personality isn't a distraction from tennis. It is one of the sport's greatest assets for engaging the next generation of fans. Music. Alex Eala is not harming tennis. She is saving it, introducing it to millions of young people across Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America who might never have picked up a racket, watched a match, or understood why a sport that seems simple on the surface is one of the most mentally, physically, and emotionally demanding in the world. Ultimately, the clash between Oprah Winfrey and Alex Eala is about far more than tennis, media influence, social media followings, or who delivered the sharper verbal blow. This is a defining cultural moment that challenges how we measure impact in the modern world. How we judge young women who dare to be visible, loud, complicated, and unapologetically themselves. And most importantly, who gets to decide what a legacy truly looks like. Oprah's legacy is indisputable. She has broken barriers, built institutions, and left an enduring mark on history. But no one owns the definition of impact. Alex is actively writing her own history on her own terms, blending the relentless athleticism of a world-class tennis professional with the authenticity, intelligence, and outspoken courage of a modern icon who knows where she came from and exactly where she is headed. And if anyone dares to dismiss her as mere noise, they should take heed. 8 words are all it takes. 8 music words, a clear conscience, and over a decade of grinding from Manila to Madrid to Melbourne. 8 words from a young woman who left everything familiar behind to pursue a dream deemed too expensive, too difficult, and too unlikely for someone from her background. 8 words that have resonated globally, sparking conversations in boardrooms, locker rooms, classrooms, and dinner tables